Hey guys, it's Eric Green from Tax Rep Network. So I'm doing a webinar today for a group of invited 100 accountants on the inside secrets to an offer and compromise. So I just thought I would post this quickly. If you really want to know some of the key secrets, inside tips, how you get an offer and compromise, right? There are three critical things that you need to understand. Number one, the taxpayer has to be in compliance. So if you're a taxpayer listening to this, what is compliance? Or even if you're an accountant, CPA or EA, let's define compliance. Compliance to the IRS means that you have the last 6 years of returns on file, meaning that it's now January of 2025 to have 6 years on file because we can't file the 2024s yet, pretty soon, but not yet. You would have to have 19 through 24, right? That's 6 years. 6 years would work. If not, 18 through 23 right now, because 24 can't still be filed. We can file it in a week. All right. But you have to have the last 6 years. Now you can have more. Let's say you have someone who hasn't filed since 2010. You could go all the way back to 2011 if you want to, but you don't have to. IRS last 6 years, and you're considered in compliance in terms of dealing with the IRS. So you got to be in compliance. The other part of compliance is you're making your current tax payments. What does that mean? So if you're a W-2 employee, it means that you're having enough withholding done so you will not owe money at the end of the year. If you're self-employed, it means you've made the current year's estimated tax payments, right? If you are a business, you've made the current year's payroll tax deposits. So returns, last 6 years, and current year's tax payments, you're good to go in terms of compliance. A lot of offers go down the tubes simply because they're filed by people who don't understand this. If you're not in compliance, your offer is what's called non-processable. They won't even look at it. First thing they'll check is, are you in compliance? If you're not in compliance, they can return the offer, non-processable, over. All right. So you got to be in compliance. The other thing is you have to have a handle on the CSED. What's the CSED? CSED is collection statute expiration date, right? How much time remains on the statute? So let's say the taxpayer owed $100,000 and they show an ability when you go through the reasonable collection potential formula, which we'll get to next, that they can afford to pay $1,000 a month. If to do an offer, you can't show an ability to full pay. If you have an ability to full pay, you have to get into an installment agreement. So can you full pay? Well, it depends. How much time remains on the statute? If you just filed the return, so there's 10 years left, well, $1,000 a month, it's 12,000 a year, 10 years is 120,000, you only owe 100, you can full pay. If there's only 7 years left, well, now you'd only be able to pay, what is that, 84,000? Well, you owe 100, so now you can't full pay. So now you could do an offer, and that offer would be the net equity and assets and 12 months of future income if you're doing a lump sum offer. Um, but the point being, you need to have a handle on how much time remains on the collection statute. And finally, you need to understand RCP, reasonable collection potential. It's the formula that the IRS uses to determine if the taxpayer can full pay. The IRS has some allowable standards that they allow for certain expenses, others they're going to allow actual. We do a whole course just on understanding RCP. But you need to be able to understand this because, again, most offers fail. In my experience, the taxpayer isn't in compliance. The taxpayer on paper shows an ability to full pay. And the reason for that is the taxpayer filled in the paperwork and says, aha, I've got no available income. I can do an offer. And by the way, this is why I don't like the offer and compromise online calculator. It's garbage in, garbage out. If you don't understand what you're putting in, you put in the numbers and it makes it look like you can do an offer. Whereas if you had experience doing this and you applied the standards, all of a sudden you can full pay. All right. And then we have to start looking at, are there expenses that you're not paying but should? For instance, you could have student loans that you owe for yourself, for your education, that are in abeyance. Well, if you're not paying them, they're not going to allow the deduction. But if you are paying them, it is for yourself and it's federally guaranteed student loan. It's an allowable deduction. So that could make the difference between being able to do an offer and not being able to do an offer. So it's simple stuff like that, but you need to understand those RCP rules. So net, um, if you want to understand, can someone do an offer? Or if you're a taxpayer watching this, wondering, can I do an offer? You need to be in compliance. You need to have a good handle on how much time remains on the statute. If you don't know how much that is, because there's a number of different years, we need to pull transcripts and figure that out year by year, how much time remains to see whether you could potentially full pay or not. And in order to do that, you need to have your arms around the RCP calculation, reasonable collection potential. So if you understand those three things, as a CPA, EA, or an attorney, you can master this area. It's not that complicated. If you're a taxpayer, those are the three critical things you should be talking about with your representative. If they're not bringing this up to you, I would find a different representative. If you need someone, contact us at Tax Rep Network. I will put you in touch with somebody, one of our network members who's trained to do this in your area who can help you. All right. So anyway, I hope you got a little bit more insight into how offers and compromise work. All right. The three inside secrets. And maybe I'll see you on the webinar later today. All right. Thanks again, Eric Green from Tax Rep Network. See you inside Tax Rep. Bye-bye.